What do you do with a kid who's on red by 9 a.m. in the morning? You got a problem. So what you want to do, and there are students, you can't take anything away from them that they care about. So the question becomes then, how do you get the behaviors you want? Okay. And there's this concept of voices. So there's the parent voice when you're telling, the child voice when you're whining, the adult voice when you're asking. Now, here's what we know from the research, that if you're forced to become your own parent quite young, you tend to only develop two of the three voices, the child voices and the negative voices, the negative parent. And the adult voice allows you to resolve a conflict while you keep the relationship. Here's the key issue in discipline. How am I going to keep a relationship with this kid and still get him or her to do what I need them to do? Okay. The problem is this. Relationships are your greatest leverage. They'll do it for you because they like you or they respect you. But the problem is you have to use the right voice to keep that relationship. I've said to teachers before, you made this, you went after that kid in a parent voice, you had your finger up, you went after him. What are you going to do when they came back? What are you going to do when they come back? You lost your leverage. And they are going to come back. So how do you make that happen? That's a key thing. And I will tell you one other thing. 80% of discipline referrals come from 20% of the staff. Ask your administrators. They'll tell you that hands down. And I'll tell you, the reason they come from 20% of the staff is because they're in the parent voice all the time. That's not how you get behavior. So, how do you do it? And one of the things I want to say then for your audience, you want to know that the voice you start out in is the voice that's going to determine the outcome. Now, what I usually do with my audience at this point in time, and you may not feel comfortable with this, but I like to get somebody up from the audience, and I like them, we do a pretend scenario. They're an 8th grader. I've given them permission to go to the bathroom, and they come back 25 minutes later, okay? And we do the scenario 3 times. The first time I'm in the adult voice, the second time I'm in the parent voice, and the third time I'm in the child voice. And I demonstrate for them that the voice makes all the difference in the outcome. But to use the adult voice, you have to be able to ask a question. So, for example, I'll say to the student, okay, hey, okay, can you help me understand what happened? I always like to ask them that question first so they have due process. That is an adult voice. Can you help me understand what happened? I gave you permission to go to the bathroom and you didn't come back for 25 minutes. And they usually give you some kind of, Mickey Mouse answer, and you just go, okay. Then you say, I was really worried about you because I didn't know where you were, and I need to know that you're safe. I've actually promised your parents I'll keep you safe, okay? So can you help me understand what happened here? And then I'll say to them, I need a better plan from you. I need to know how you're going to get back in 5 minutes. So how can that happen? What do we need to do so you can be back in 5 minutes? And then you add a consequence in. I'll say, well, now you have to come in for lunch and make up the work you missed, okay? And they'll give you all the reasons. And I'll say, well, now you can choose. You can come in today and make it up. You can bring your lunch, or we had detention. You can have 45 minutes of detention. You choose, or Saturday detention. The bottom line on the thing, you keep a relationship with them. You're forcing them to choose what happens to them. Okay. Now, when you start out in the parent voice, you're telling, I told you, and I told you not to do this. Well, if the kid only has two voices to begin with, they're going to go back at you in the parent voice, or they're just going to shut down. But either way, you did not get a change in behavior. And then they'll start talking back to you. And then the next thing you know, you send them to the office, but you didn't really change the behavior. And I had to get rid of a teacher because she would only discipline, and the child would say, I just can't believe you did that to me. I'm your friend. And how could you do it to me when I'm your friend? No, you're not the friend. So the bottom line on the thing, we use this then with your audience to illustrate how this voice makes so much difference in the outcome of your interactions with students. Now, like any strategy, it doesn't work with every kid, but it's a huge factor in how you handle behavior. Now, in the book, Disengaged, Homeless, etc., we talk about the autonomic nervous system and its impact on you as a disciplinarian. The fact that the body is an energy system, and when you're in the room with an angry person, you can actually feel it because it's a vibrational energy system. And about 99.9% of what happens is under the control of the autonomic nervous system. And you have about 5 trillion bits of information coming into your brain at any given time, and you're only aware of about 10,000 bits. And so one of the things, you can begin to share some of the information that's in that book with your audience as well. And there's a video we use, we talk about the vagus nerve, etc. But what it does, it becomes a deeper way for your audience to understand that there are many, many factors in the whole piece on behavior. The last piece we talk about in this is the Karpman triangle, which is linked to voices. When you're getting an argument, and this is particularly very important for dealing with parents, when you get in an argument, this I love, it's my favorite tool. It has kept me out of more problems with parents. But when you're in the adult voice, okay, the adult voice doesn't show up in this triangle. See, there's two parent voices, a calm one, but you're fixing it, and an angry, demanding one. So when people get in an argument, there's the rescuer. Now, let's do this, da 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 da, but it is a telling voice. The bully, I told you and I told you. The victim is the child voice. Oh, I just, okay. If you've ever had a parent come in and say, I don't know what to do with Johnny, you got that. That's the child voice. The bottom line is this. Here's the rules about this triangle. You get in this triangle, you will never solve the problem, okay? Number two, you yourself will end up taking all three roles, and the only way you stay out is to ask questions. So let me give you an example, and you do like law enforcement does. They're procedural questions. What happened first, then what happened next, then what happened, how do you know, don't use why. Okay, let me give you an example. I had a father come to me and he said, my daughter is being sexually harassed. She was a 4th grader. You will stop it. Okay. And it can't happen again. All right. So what I did, so he's in the triangle. He came in to rescue his daughter. He believes she's a victim. He's going to bully me to do it. All right, I get it. All right. So I said to him, because you stay in the adult voice the whole time and you don't get in the triangle, I said, so thank you for coming to see me. I take that very seriously. I said, may I ask you what you know about it? He said, well, not much. All I can tell you, she comes home every night crying. I said, do you want me to just listen or do you want me to solve the problem? He said, I want the problem solved. I said, okay. Then to solve the problem, we need to ask your daughter questions because she has better information than we do. He said, absolutely. So I called her because occasionally you'll run into a parent who doesn't want their child involved. And then I'll say to them, well, if we want to solve the problem, then we're going to have to talk to your child because they have more information than we do. So I called her in. Kate, she's a beautiful little girl. I said to her, tell me what happens. She said, well, I said, Brandon, what does Brandon do or say? She told me it was inappropriate. I said, when does this happen? She said, at recess. I said, what do you do when he does this? She said, I smile at him. Well, now I thought her father was going to have a heart attack. I just said, so, Kate, when you smile at him, he thinks you like it. You have to say to him, I don't like it. And she said, I can't do that. Okay. And her father goes, yes, you can. So I sent her back to the classroom. I said to her father, and there's a tool you can use in here to pull him to the future. I said to the father, your daughter is very attractive. She's going to have unwanted advances. I said, what are you going to do when she's in high school and it's a date rape situation? I said, we are not having it here, but she needs to have some tools. He said, absolutely, and I'm going to give them to her. And I said, I'm going to work with Brandon because it's inappropriate. And I need you to call me if there's any more incidents. He said, I will. But you stay out of the voices, you stay out of the triangle, you can resolve it with the adult voice. So it is one of the tools that you use when you're working with students. And there's additional information on students who are living in instability, homelessness, or disengagement.